What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York, calling from the quarantine zone again, and this time we are here with Jukka of Omnium Gatherum. Great to have you here, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, man. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here. We got a lot to celebrate and a lot to talk about. First thing is first, we have Origin coming out November 1st, or November 5th, I'm sorry. Do you consider this just a direct continuation of The Burning Colds, like the direct sequel to that, or is this almost kind of like a new beginning for Omnium Gatherum in a way?
Well, it's a continuation in a sense that every album in our category is a continuation from the last one. But if Omnium Gathering was about people in general, like outwards, Origin is like people in general as inwards. So it is an individual album in that sense. Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel that maybe the first two singles that you released, Paragon and Reckoning, which Reckoning is probably my new favorite Omnium Gatherum song ever, do you, is that like maybe a good representation of like what the whole album of Origin is going to sound like, or is there a lot more to be discovered on it?
I think there's a lot more to be discovered. We're gonna soon we're gonna release a third video. It's kind of like a different one, a bit slower and stuff like that. But I think those two first singles were kind of like the main one, mid-tempo, kind of like stylish Omnium Gatherum. The next one's gonna be a little bit slower, a little bit different. But there's a lot of surprises in that sense in the album, but it still is like a tight package. You can really say it's an original OG album, of course, but we like to progress our music to push forward, so we like to do a variety within the album in itself, like you guys have seen before.
Mhm. Well, I've always said that the entire Omnium Gatherum catalog is like the use your illusion of death metal in a way, on how there's all these different inspirations.
Thank you very much. That's so kind of you to say, because usually losing one and two. Well, two is well, it's a good album, but for used to losing one is it's like fucking awesome. So thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, of course. I've always said that the unknowing is the melodic death metal November Rain.
Well, that's something. That's kind of like never heard that before.
Yeah, it's because I made it up.
But that's cool, man.
Being that you mentioned that every album is like a continuation of the other, like if somebody were to just discover Omnium Gatherum on this new album Origin, do you recommend that they go back and maybe listen to The Burning Cold and then listen to Gray Heavens and then listen to Beyond and so forth in order to get the full context, or can a listener like approach you at any time period?
I think our music can be approached every individual album works on itself like an individual work of art in that sense. Like if you really listen to the first albums, like Spirits and August Light or Years in Waste or Stuck Here and Makes Snake's Way, you can really sense that they are individual albums, but they have a connection in them, like in a composing way, because Marcus is the main guy who does the music like compose wise, and he does have a continuation within Omnium Gatherum, and you can hear like bits and pieces of Omnium Gatherum in his other releases with other bands also, because you cannot separate a person from his art in that sense. And it also goes like that with lyrically. I respected Anti's lyrics. He was the singer in the first two albums very much, and I do my own thing, but I like make sure that I respect his work in the continuation of OG's like a traveling path. So as a listener, you can go to each individual album, but to get the full sense of the idea, I would recommend to take the whole buffet.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot to discover on there, and what's funny too, you mentioned like that there's a usual like formula, or that there's a usual touch that's added in, and I couldn't agree with you more, because a lot of people refer to Omnium Gatherum as melodic death metal, which makes sense, but like you don't sound like At the Gates. You don't sound like,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't sound like Soilwork or The Haunted or In Flames. I think you have sort of like your own sort of effect behind it. And I know it's kind of like a cliche question to ask, what are your influences and stuff, but I was curious with Omnium Gatherum how like you sort of got to that sound. It just sounds so juicy and it sounds so full and it sounds so like emotional. Like were you looking at fellow melodic death metal peers, or were you all taking maybe inspiration from other genres that we may not know about?
Yeah, of course, it's like the music in general, like every music genre, every like individual piece of music that like mankind as a whole or individually creates is a connected in a way or another to to another songs, to another pieces, because I think like everything is being invented, but the rediscovery is the real challenge, like how to make fresh the things that are already there in a sense, like because we have never, you or I or any other people for that matter, we have never heard like uh unique music in that sense. You could say like Frank Zappa, that's a unique music, like and he really is in that sense. But if you really start to look at his influences, they came like he started from like making orchestral music before he even knew music, because he fell in love with modern classical composers. And in that sense, maybe the influences are wide and spread and wide apart, but they really are there. But if we come back to your original questions, like there's a lot of like 80s vibes in OG, has always been like like with melodies that are really uplifting and stuff like that. And there's also like influences from like movie composing, classical music and stuff like that. But they're like bits and pieces there, here and there. So it's like, it's kind of like the the band's name stands for. It's like Omnium Gatherum. Like it comes from here and there and there. Like just try to make that sphere work.
I love how like you're out that the band name almost represents the style that you play, but being vague enough. Like there's no denying that a band like Cannibal Corpse.
Maybe it was Kiss May. So.
Well, I mean, like Cannibal Corpse is undeniably a death metal band. You know what you're getting with that, but I just love the
Yes.
mystery behind Omnium Gatherum, and it really is taking inspiration from different
Thank you
sources.
very much.
I'm never gonna say your
That's
band
what we
name.
are like. We like to do things like that, and that's just like our style. And I really respect like you. For instance, you mentioned Cannibal Corpse. I really respect their like music, and they have stuck to their style like so like vividly, in that sense that this is the thing that we want to do. Another example, Iron Maiden. They're making good albums, but you'll definitely know what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
Or AC/DC in that sense, or maybe Nirvana if it would be alive today. But you never know, man.
you never know. And we also have a lot to celebrate this year too for Omnium Gathering, because this year is the 10-year anniversary of New World Shadows. And
Oh yeah.
and I was just curious, maybe like if we could, we talked about a lot of things up and coming. I wanted to kind of turn back the clock a little bit for this question, but like, what was the sort of thought process going into New World Shadows? Because I've always thought that the album artwork was so like captivating to have this sort of like cityscape on here. A lot of people probably assume upon first hearing you that you guys live and write your music in the forest, but I call this like urban death metal in a way. So like
Well, it is.
yeah.
It really is. It's like you really catch it, because it is like it's someone coming to the urban scene in that sense, and the New World Shadows really represents the turbulence. I was really feeling the turbulence back in 2011, what was happening in the world in general, and now today we can see that the turbulence is real. So.
So it's fair to say you predicted this out. You predicted the world we live in today.
Well, I cannot say as far as that, but I had some vibes going on, so maybe I was just lucky. I don't know.
Or, no, you were unlucky. Yeah.
But that's unknowing.
Yeah. Fair. Oh, pun intended. Yeah, I see what you did there. But because like when I listen to New World Shadows, like Soul Journeys is always like very captivating to me, and then you have like Nova Flame, and then ending with Deep Cold as well. Like it almost made me wonder if this was like a concept album, or if this was more, because I've always said there's a difference between an album being conceptual and an album being a concept album. But what was there like a concept being addressed in New World Shadows in a way?
Well, lyrically speaking, there's always that kind of like I always have a concept, but it always comes back to the human condition, like whether it's like a individual things going on, or maybe like a family thing going on, or maybe like a tribe thing going on, or maybe like a bigger thing going on. In that sense, there is a concept, but New World Shadows is something like really like grasping something like it can be seen on the artwork, like it's something that's coming out of forest is reaching a new place of existence in that sense, that and he the person is not coming to that place alone. He's coming with all the influences which comes with him, and also not colliding but like merging with the things that he's approaching. So in that sense, there is a concept like something new is forming, that but you can really say like what kind of thing it is that is forming. And look, it's kind of like a mystery in that sense.
Hmm. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but your first album singing with the band was Stuck Here on Snake's Way, right? That was the first album.
Yeah.
So when you joined Omnium Gatherum, were you kind of like looking at albums such as Years and Waste and Spirits and August Light, being like, okay, this is how I have to sing, or were you allowed to kind of bring a little bit of your own mix into Omnium Gatherum?
Well, I think that those the guys were really uh, appreciative towards me, that they say that you can do your own thing, because I at that time I sang in another band called Elenium, and we released 2 albums, and we toured with OG for a couple of years, like in Finland, like at different locations and different gigs, and really got to know the guys and really liked their style, and they liked our style, and but for me personally, I really did listen to the first 2 albums, and said like, I'm doing this thing in Elenium, and I'm gonna continue my own thing, but I'm also gonna do it kind of like that I will respect the roots that Omnium Gatherum like had at that time. So it's kind of like a combination in that.
Okay. Do you maybe like if you're playing like a deep cut off those 2 albums in a way, you may have like a different attachment to that song or feel a little bit different as opposed to singing like a song off of an album that you were featured in?
Yeah, of course, because like OG's previous singer Antti was from my opinion at least, was a really inventive lyricist, like a poet in that sense, and I have always respected his style, and still respect with the other like projects he's doing, and I kind of like thought that like I said before, I'm gonna keep my own style, but I'm not gonna forget what he did. So in that sense, there is a differentiation. Like back in the day when we really played a lot more songs from those albums, I always did like, I'm gonna do this my own way, but I'm gonna respect his ideas. Like, I didn't copy his voice, but I made my voice sound a bit like, you can really hear it and Stuck Here on Snake's Way, that if you compare it to for instance, to New World Shadows, that Stuck Here on Snake's Way, like with my voice, sounds more like Years in Waste or Spirits and August Light compared to the newer albums. And that was kind of like a growing point for me also, to discover my place in the band, and to be able to make something new of myself, and of the heritage that OG had.
Okay. And do you feel that maybe like the lyrics that you write can maybe also influence maybe the direction of a sound as well? Or have you always needed the music before you could think of lyrics?
Well, it goes like the inspiration is like, for me, it's like a part of the working process. I don't wait for inspiration. I work, and the inspiration follows. and I think that like, my sound is, it's strong enough to carry itself through the songs, but I also try to listen to the songs in that sense, that what would like make a best kind of a like interpretation for this and this part, and if it doesn't fit I'll stick I'll stick to my style, but if it fits, I'll change it for that particular moment. So it's a combination of both, like a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, in that sense.
Do you like almost have to be in a certain place? You mentioned like you get inspiration from working and you don't wait for it, you just work until it comes. And like, but do you almost have like a usual, for lack of better words, like ritual in order to like get that inspiration? Like, do you like have to like be in a certain place or be in a certain time, or has inspiration sometimes struck at like the most inconvenient times?
Well, I don't have to be in a certain place or a certain point in time. I think, like, if you continue to do those things and also remember to just lay down and fucking relax, and then it comes naturally. And for me, like I said, like, the work is the main thing. I just love to when we are like pre-producing an album or making new songs in general. I just love to listen to them. I just love to just look at my lyrics and write them down again and again and again, to be able to be inspired more, to be able to have more. It's a kind of like a work ethic
Mm-hmm.
thing, maybe, because I also love to relax. So I let my brain, I let my heart relax, and then I'm just ready to work again, and I can go on and on in that sense. So I would say it's mostly the thing that I just keep going, but always remembering that there are times when I just have to stop doing it and do something different, like go out for a jog, or watch some movies, or listen to some other kind of music, or whatever suits me, or just like be at home and stare at the fucking wall, you
Yeah.
know?
Which you
Yeah,
you could have done plenty of that the last year and a half. I could tell you that
just
much.
there.
Yep. Now, when you are playing this material live, and being that every album sort of captures its own pace and time and its own idea, but when you are playing live and you're bringing a set list together for songs of many different albums, do you almost think that maybe the context or the meanings of the song change when you play them live, and kind of like you know play the songs in a different order in a way?
Well, well, it all depends, like in so many things. Like with the synergy, like live playing is always like live shows are always like a different thing altogether. Like there's a similarity in every live show in that sense, that it goes on from this time frame to this time frame, and then it's over. And like every show is in if it doesn't go like to a catastrophe, it's similar in that sense. So, but they always change, because there's a synergy between the audience and the performers too. So you get that kind of vibe, that it uplifts you, and if it doesn't, you will push more. And I think, like, in a sense, the crowds that come to see us, they can really feel it, that we are there for them that night, like, and not for anyone else. So
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of live shows, if you don't mind me asking this, just because I was supposed to see you guys play with Insomnium the day the lockdown happened. That exact day, I remember the date, March 13th, 2020, at
mm-hmm,
Gramercy Theater.
mm-hmm.
So I remember that day exactly, and I interviewed Insomnium a couple months ago, and we talked about that. Now, I can't, speak for you guys or anybody in the band, but it sounded like it was a very, very hectic time. That time, I know you all played one show and then had to head home. Did maybe this experience that you have, that not many bands got to say that they were in North America the day the lockdown happened and then having to travel back? Did this uncertainty at all maybe influence what we're going to hear off of Origin?
Well, I'm not really sure, because it was also the whole situation with, like, with everyone else, with everyone in the world. It was so absurd. Like, the shortest US tour ever. We got a good laugh about that. So we didn't go home crying. We just went home disappointed that, this great thing that, we love touring, and we've been touring US for like a couple of years now, and this lineup was like, for us, it was like, now we're gonna have some fun with all the people in the US, with all you guys. And when it stopped, we're like, like the hammer came down in that sense that, you know, okay, we're not gonna quit, but you know, uh, well, maybe it had some, maybe we had some like influences from that situation. I don't know. I really can't say, you know, maybe subconsciously, but, you know, consciously, we didn't think much about it. We just like, you know, we have to move forward. We have a new album to be released. You know, we have to make new songs, and you know, pre-production was already on its way. Like it began when in 2019 we came back from a European tour, and the first demos and the first like lyrical context we made. Marcus made the first demos, and we made, like, you know, it had already begun in that sense. But maybe that just kind of boosted us to make even a better album, because, you know, this fucking thing affects us all.
Yeah.
So still it does.
Yeah, and I'm sure though maybe that Marcus was slightly relieved as he didn't have to work double duty for 30 days straight. Maybe he had a little
Maybe.
bit. Yeah, I was wondering. Like I even said, I was like, are you sure you guys don't want to get a band in between those two sets? That sounds exhausting. He was in my thoughts.
I know, but you know, he's a workaholic too. So, you know, if his physiques are fine, that's fine. You know, his mind can stand it, but, you know, maybe his middle-aged body can't. I don't know.
I mean, I was getting arthritis looking at that tour flyer. So
Yeah.
so
but you know, he loves to work. So I think he would have been fine. You
yeah.
know, he already did. He did a double duty back in 15 when we toured with Insomnium. When Nilo couldn't make it to the tour, and there was Mike Bear. Hey, Mike. Thanks for that. He was replacing Nilo there, and Nick also was replacing Ville.
Okay.
But Marcus did a double duty then, and he also did a double duty when we toured with Ensiferum, Insomnium, and Omnium Gatherum in Europe in 2015. Yeah, the same year.
Wow. Well, then I don't think that he's human. I just think he's a bionic machine.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. That's the secret of Omnium Gatherum, right? You secretly have a transformer or something like that in your band or something like that.
Maybe.
Is the label gonna give me? The label's gonna.
Yeah,
The
but
label, I can't say
it's
it.
about our Decepticon. You never know.
Fair enough. I just hope that the label isn't gonna mind me leaking that information. Yeah, but before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time and for such a great conversation. And
welcome. You're welcome.
and thank you for giving us so much new music as well to wait out these times with. I think that Origin is going to serve as one of the albums that serve as the soundtrack to overcoming these difficult times. Is there just anything else with Is there just anything else with Omnium Gatherum that you would like to promote for the release of Origin? When this virus that shall not be named is behind us, can we possibly have you guys make up those dates? We'd love to have you here.
I think so. I definitely think so. We have something planned, so stay tuned.
Okay, and say no more. You'll tell me when I turn the recorder off. But
So yeah.
But thank you so much, everybody.
You're welcome, man.
We are here with.
By the way, I love your shirt, man.
Oh, thank you. I'm wearing the Infected Rain shirt for viewers curious.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you so much, everybody. We are here with Omnium Gatherum Origin, coming out via Century Media Records, November 5th. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We will see you next time.
Yes, stay metal, guys.